Grain Elevator and Processing Society is hosting their annual Jeeps Exchange Conference at the Kansas City Convention Center, February 22nd through the 25th of 2025. Jeeps Exchange is the biggest and best show in the grain industry with more than 400 exhibitors and 45 hours of education. It is the best place to find grain handling and processing operation solutions all in one place. Jeeps Exchange brings together industry professionals from across the world to help build professional networks and connect with the products you need. Come walk the trade show floor, take part in live demonstrations, innovation stations, and see new equipment. Make valuable connections through a variety of fun and exciting social events. Early bird pricing ends January 28th. Learn more and register at jeeps.com/exchange. Grain Elevator and Processing Society is hosting our annual Jeeps Exchange Conference at the Kansas City Convention Center, February 25th through the 28th. Jeeps Exchange is the biggest and best show in the grain industry with more than 350 exhibitors and 45 hours of education. It is the best place to find grain handling and processing operation solutions all in one place. Jeeps Exchange brings together industry professionals from across the world to help build professional networks and connect with the products you need. Come walk the trade show floor and partake in live demonstrations and trainings. Learn more at jeeps.com/exchange. Coming up is a conversation I had with a highly respected consultative sales specialist within the grain industry. We discuss how critical it is for grain industry suppliers to be innovative and future-focused in nature, and suppliers need to be more than just order takers. What does that mean? Grain facilities need to be primed and ready to go. How can organizations like IBT Industrial Solutions be a key partner to prevent unexpected downtime? And as a result of his communications with so many grain-based organizations and connections with grain professionals, he'll share findings on the biggest challenges grain operation organizations are facing. All that and more. Let's go. Hey folks, welcome to Whole Grain. My name is Jim Lenz, your host and Director of Training and Education at Jeeps, where the mission of the Grain Elevator and Processing Society is about people and information and knowledge, and the mission of the industry is about feeding and fueling the world. Thanks for listening today and for joining the network of thousands of other grain handling and processing professionals across the globe taking strategic steps to grow professionally. The Whole Grain Show will give you the competitive advantage to win at work so you can make more of an impact. We thank IBT Industrial Solutions for sponsoring this episode of Whole Grain. When you think of IBT Industrial Solutions, industrial parts, knowledge, and service come to mind. Let's find out what it takes for industry suppliers and consultants to support future-focused grain operation facilities. Today we welcome a highly experienced consultative sales professional who plays a big role in supporting the needs of so many grain handling and processing facilities. J.R. Volcko is the outside sales specialist of IBT Industrial Solutions. J.R., we welcome your perspective in the grain industry and thanks for your participation with Whole Grain.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Now, to allow our listeners to get to know you a bit and to start the show with a bit of positive spirit, could you share with our listeners a mantra or success quote that you live by professionally?
Yeah, I have actually a couple of them, and mine is stay hungry, always going after that next sale and learn something new. So try to learn something new every day.
That's great. All right, lifelong learner. Now, IBT Industrial Solutions serves several industries and certainly is a very big player in the grain industry. Since 1949, IBT has been helping customers maintain efficient, productive, and safe workplace facilities. For those listeners who may not be familiar with IBT Industrial Solutions, can you share, JR, some of the supplies, products, and services that's part of the IBT Industrial Solutions grain industry portfolio?
I sure can. So some of the items that we carry in stock at our grain division in Wichita, Kansas is, of course, belting. We have the ability to cut, slit, and punch belting in-house in our warehouse in Wichita, Kansas. We also supply buckets, all the hardware for those buckets. We do vulcanization out of Oklahoma. We do all your skirt boarding, anything to do with your wear materials. So your sheet goods, your blue urethane, your high orange energy sheets, your red kryptane, UHMW, we keep that in stock, along with tile and anything else you would need for your facility.
Wow, such a great assortment of products and services. This must have been challenging for your organization, challenging for suppliers out there, of course, operation facilities as well. I mean, the world has experienced such unprecedented disruption in recent years. Families have been disrupted, businesses and organizations have been disrupted, government bodies around the world have been, of course, disrupted due to the pandemic and more. And there's such serious conflicts going on. Everyone is trying to navigate this world of uncertainty. Our Whole Grain podcast listeners are all in the grain industry. Our role is to help feed and fuel the world. What's interesting is that IBT Industrial Solutions has anticipated market shifts and demands on the supply chain. And as a result, IBT Industrial Solutions has made some critically important actions to be there for the grain industry in terms of products and supplies. Can you share with our Whole Grain podcast listeners what IBT Industrial Solutions has done during this volatile time to best support the grain industry? I think our listeners might find this rather interesting.
Yes. What we have done as far as an industrial distributor is we have been able to leverage with our suppliers and find out what long lead times will be, what that looks like, and order accordingly. So we've bumped up our inventory significantly, especially in the grain division as far as belting is concerned. Profile belting, which anything that's on an incline, we definitely up that along with your smooth belting. Same thing at our corporate warehouse in Merriam, Kansas. All your bearings, your motors, anything that looks like it's going to have a long lead time that we have looked at in the past of what we've sold, we've tried to update and tried to up that inventory to help better our customers and keep them going.
It's a great way to support the grain industry, of course, what your organization has done, sort of preventative medicine type practices. What does this mean then for grain operations and your customers as a result?
That's a great question. So one of the things that we've done as far as with our customers, obviously looked at what these long lead times and approached our customers and said, hey, this is what we're seeing here. We think it would be a good idea for you to look at what we've sold you in the past and say, hey, these items are critical. Us being a distributor, why don't we stock those critical items on our shelf or in a warehouse of your choosing, a central located warehouse, because we know these grain facilities are out in small little towns here and there. They might not have access or quick access to inventory. So we pick a central location and say, okay, we're going to stock all this stuff here for you. With our 38 branches spread across the Midwest, we're able to do that for our customers. What we do is then approach the customer, like I was saying, and say, hey, these are some items that we've sold you in the past. You let us know what's critical. What's some machinery that you have that cannot be down? So in a grain facility, I think of your shipping leg, your receiving leg, things of that nature. Let's look at your motors on those legs. Let's look at your bearings on those legs and say, hey, let's throw a couple of them on the shelf for you. The good thing is sometimes multiple facilities will use the same products. So you can keep maybe one or two of that item on your shelf, or we'll help you by keeping it on ours. So that's one of the ways that we've really been able to help our customers. And, during harvest, you can't be down while you're trying to load a barge or load a train or take in 200 trucks that day. So we try to keep those guys moving just like they need to be.
Now, grain professionals and grain facilities are always looking to be more efficient, to be safety-minded, of course, and problem solvers. Based on your experience and practice of supporting grain professionals and grain facilities, what is your approach to understanding and forecasting their current and future needs? I know you touched on this a bit, but what is the way to go about things here?
Well, you had said it earlier in our title. We're IBT Industrial Solutions, and what we like to be is we like to be problem solvers. So we're not here just to sell you that bearing over and over again. We want to find out what caused that problem. Why are you failing bearings? And that's going to, help you stay running. And it's also going to stop downtime. The more we can stop these guys from having downtime, the more they're going to be effective doing what they're doing. And that's one of our main things that we look at is being problem solvers. So this happens all the time. As a matter of fact, just the other day, I was looking at a belt with one of my customers. It was a 2-ply belt and an enclosed conveyor. The belting had been in for 20 years and it's finally started to wear out a little bit. So he calls me up and says, hey, can you come look at this? Hopped up there, looked at him, went on site, and the customer was thinking, well, maybe I ought to go to a 3-ply belt instead of a 2-ply belt. Well, us being problem solvers and solution providers, that's not the right answer. That belt lasted 20 years and did over, I don't know how many bushels of grain. I just told him, I said, look, let's go back with a 2-ply. And in 20 years, you and I both won't have to worry about this belt because we'll be retired.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. Some of the other things is we worked hand in hand with our customers. One other problem we were having is some belting bubbling up in the middle. We were able to work with the customer on that one and locate what the problem was, solve the problem before we just started selling belting to them over and over and over again. So that's what we try to do for our customers.
Great story there. Great problem solvers there and working together, kind of like a partnership, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And that's what we like to be for our customers is a partner with them. You said that perfectly.
Awesome. Now, you are in a vantage point of working with lots of different customers in the grain industry. Like you said, you want to be problem solvers, but you also really get an understanding of some of the biggest challenges just because of nature of your position. I'm curious, I bet our listeners are curious, what are some of the biggest challenges you are seeing in the grain industry?
A couple of them. One of the more things I hear while I'm out on the road is the hiring of employees. That's been the most difficult thing that I can see out there. And that's not only for my facilities as far as grain facilities, that's also for the millwrights that work on those facilities, the manufacturers that build the product that goes into those facilities. And that's what's causing some of these long lead times as well. It's very difficult to find a person to come in and do those jobs. And I don't understand it. I've been calling on grain for quite some time now. Everybody seems like they enjoy what they do. It's a great job. You're outside, you're inside, you see something different every day. It just blows my mind that we can't get people to do this. Some of the other problems that we've seen, obviously we mentioned it before, is the supply issue. Some things that you can't predict. Mother Nature is always interfering. This past year we had droughts. We had the Mississippi River that dried up. The facilities had trouble getting barges up and down the river. A lot of dredging going on down there for those guys. And it's just a lot going on for them. And, they fought and still had a successful year in a lot of cases.
Yeah, those are some good insights. So those are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing in the grain industry. You're out there, you get to see so many facilities, so many professionals, have a lot of conversations. What do you feel grain facilities are doing really well?
They're really focused on training, especially now. We mentioned the supply chain issues, and that keeps coming up, but it's something that we can't not look at. So a lot of preventative maintenance has come into play. Coming up with a grease schedule for your equipment, checking on your drag chains, doing different things to help stop that chain or bearing or gearbox or whatever the case may be have that long lead time. Well, if we can keep care of it and look after it a little bit closer, then hopefully it'll last a lot longer than normal. So those are some of the things we've been able to help our facilities with as well is, get in there and train their personnel. Show them some products that they might not be aware of that are out there, vibration analysis and things like that are tools they can use to help keep their equipment going.
Great to hear. Now, you and your organization don't just work in the grain industry, and you serve other industries. So we've talked about grain today. What are some of those other types of customers that you work with?
So some of the other customers that we work with are manufacturing plants. Compressor manufacturers comes to mind. That's another customer of mine. Some ethanol plants, which I consider them grain. They're kind of a hybrid, but we deal a lot with ethanol, as well as food service. Anything to do, if you're making something, we can probably help you out as far as getting parts for your equipment and or your MOR items, such as safety items and things like that. So I focus mostly on grain. However, we do have pretty vast product line. Bearings, power transmission products we get into, lubrication, of course, so all your greases and your oils, material handling equipment, not only in grain, so your screw conveyor, your drag conveyors, your drag chain, things like that. We also do pallet racking. things out of the ordinary that you wouldn't see. Electrical products. So, of course, we do electric motors, servos, clutch brake and tension products, ball screws, actuators. We also have our fluid power product. The good thing about all these things that I'm mentioning is IBT has specialists that only focus on these items. So we have our own motor specialists. We have our own fluid power specialists. Actually, we have several. Rubber and related products. We have our IRPG group, which is Industrial Rubbers and Product Group. So they do belting, not only for grain, but they also do it for package handling or fertilizer applications, things like that. Safety products is another big thing in grain and in other manufacturing, food safety, things like that. We get into a ton of safety products, and we have our own specialists that helps out in that. Another group of ours is our industrial maintenance technologies, which they do troubleshooting. And this is all in plant. So vibration analysis, laser alignment, performance analysis. A new product that they have is motion amplification, which is really neat to see. Failure analysis, predictive and preventative maintenance, mechanical upgrades and reconfiguration. So those guys can actually come on site, and we use them quite a bit, especially in the ethanol plants. They've done anything from complete shutdowns where they're changing belts, changing shifts, replacing gearboxes, balancing pumps. That's a big one, going through pumps and making sure they're up to par, and laser alignment, especially on pumps. So a lot of fan work too. They balance fans, which is really good. So those are some of the things that we can help our customers with, not only in grain.
Wow. So that really aligns with, I think, great customer service. You've got experts there who can support the organization and teams there. That's fantastic. Now, I know you and IBT Industrial Solutions team are always working to support grain facilities and avoid unexpected downtime. That's so important. You generally care about, being more than just order takers. You consider yourself a partner in solving some of the biggest challenges they are facing. What is the best way for listeners of Whole Grain to connect with you in IBT Industrial Solutions products and services?
So I can be reached at jrvolcko@ibtinc.com.
Great. We'll make sure we'll put that in the show notes. Thank you. Any other ways to connect with the organization?
You can check out our website at www.shopibt.com, which has just been redone and is new and improved. So go check that out. You can order online. You can set up an account online. You can contact any of those groups that we've talked about earlier. Request for quotes. You can do it all right there at your fingertips.
Fantastic. We will make sure that goes in the show notes, and you can find that out at jeeps.com/whole grain. Now, I know there is another way for folks to connect with you and your organization, your team members. And we have coming up 2023, Jeeps Exchange. You will and your team will play a big role there. There'll be a chance to have great conversations and find out about, how they can best serve, how you can partner together. Can you talk a little bit about Jeeps Exchange?
So yeah, come by the booth, check us out. We're going to have a lot of those product managers there on site that you can talk to, especially being it's mostly grain. We'll have a lot of our grain guys there that you can talk to and have a good conversation with. We'll have some things at our booth that'll be really interesting. So make sure and try to come there not once, come there several times, check it out and learn something new and hopefully teach us something and make a contact. That's what we're about too, is making contacts with other people and new potential customers. So come check us out.
That's fantastic. Thank you for your support of Jeeps. Thank you for serving the grain industry in general. You're not just order takers. You really are focused on preventing the unexpected downtime, top-notch industrial expertise, superior customer service, and you're identifying some of the biggest challenges grain operations are facing. You're working together to find solutions. And get to Jeeps Exchange. Make sure you visit JR and his colleagues there. They will be there to support you. And this is a great chance to expand your network because those conversations may start for the first time there or they may continue. But certainly now you have contact and organization that's future focused. Thank you, IBT Industrial Solutions. Thank you, JR, for being a guest on the Whole Grain Podcast. We appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, Jim. I look forward to seeing everybody at Jeep.
All right. Thank you so much, Chair. As you heard at the time of this recording, Jeep's Exchange is just around the corner, the biggest and best show in the industry, and we have all the details in audio format. Be prepared by listening to episode 9 of Whole Grain. It's your audio guide to the trade show floor, educational sessions, demos, and all the bountiful networking opportunities that exist. Plus, we provide you some of the sights and sounds that Kansas City has to offer during your visit. And once you're done listening to episode 9, be sure to check out jeeps.com/exchange. Now, the Whole Grain Show is found wherever podcasts are located by subscribing to Whole Grain on apps such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, and more. Every show will be automatically downloaded to your device as soon as it is released, so make sure you subscribe to Whole Grain. And as always, the Whole Grain Show can also be found at jeeps.com/whole grain. Let your colleagues know that not only can they listen to the show there, but the show notes are there, the links are there, and the transcripts are also available for each and every episode. Just go to jeeps.com/whole grain. Now, we want to thank IBT Industrial Solutions for sponsoring this episode. If you and your organization want to sponsor an episode and be a featured guest on Whole Grain, or if you are interested in us producing audio ads to support your product or service, we have the in-house audio production studio to help with that. Please reach out to me, Jim Lenz, Director of Global Training and Education at Jeeps, the Grain Elevator and Processing Society. My email is james@jeeps.com. The Grain Elevator and Processing Society is the world's largest organization dedicated to advancing the grain handling and processing industry. Be sure to check out jeeps.com. Have yourself a great day, and thanks for listening to Whole Grain.